Hey, seventh graders. It's me, Mr. Higgins. Obviously, I'm not in school today. I had to take a personal day to deal with some family stuff, but I will be back tomorrow, and I should be available during most of the day if you have questions and stuff. So, like, if you need to email me, I'll have my phone with me. Here it is right now. Ooh. And I will be by my computer most of the day. So, feel free to reach out to me. But I did want to go over a little bit of stuff with you today. And I think on the days when I'm out, I might start doing these video lessons. So this is kind of like a, let's see how it goes. If you were with me last year, I used to do this every day when we were doing distance learning in March. So this is kind of like that. You can see our focus question has changed a little bit, which I'll talk about in a second. The focus question is now, how might age and race affect the results of the doll test? Um, are age and race a factor when it comes to the internalization of racial stereotypes? And I will talk more about that in a few minutes. First, some quick announcements. This assignment that I'm going to give you today is called Making Predictions. It's not graded. It's just to get you thinking before we look at the new doll test from 2016. I think it's 5 questions. A handful of them are multiple choice. But I just want to see what kind of thinking you're doing, and then we'll see if your predictions were accurate tomorrow when we actually watch the modernized doll test. Power School, I will be grading your exit tickets today and adding those to Power School sometime during the day. So if you check in Power School, you might see it change. You might get some notifications. Project P Cubed Shared, which I modeled for you last week, will start this week. So if you want to start sending in submissions, I think I've had 2 people who've actually sent in submissions. That'd be great. The subject line should just be Project P3 Shared or something like that, just so I know how to find them quickly when I'm creating my lottery system. And I did take a video of my light display. I finally finished it yesterday afternoon, and I will post that video sometime later on today. I have to put it on YouTube and then put the link on here, but I know how to do that now because, well, you're watching a video that I posted on YouTube and put the link on here. So look at me. Did I mention that I'm good at computers? I'm really good at computers. Here's a picture of me and Rory and LP on the beach. This is a long time ago. And this is actually my Google picture icon avatar thing that what? I'm good at computers. Anyway, let's go on. All right, so we are going to look at one last doll test. All right, we've looked at the doll test from the 1940s. We looked at a doll test from 2005 that was conducted by a high school student in New York City. And now we're going to look at one that is a little bit more like Dr. Clark's. Like, this is really official. It was conducted in 2012 by a team of psychologists from the University of Chicago. The University of Chicago is a really good school. It's like the Harvard of the Midwest. So we're talking about a really reputable institution that was conducting this test. And again, just like the original doll test, they wanted to see if children were internalizing negative stereotypes about race. However, this new version changed things up a little bit. So not only is this now in 2012, where things are different, way different than the 1940s. I mean, by 2012, we had a person of color who served as the president of the United States. That was unheard of in the 1940s. So perhaps that could have some impact on the results, perhaps not. The kids were in this study were from 2 different age groups. They were either 4 and 5-year-olds or 9 and 10-year-olds. The 9 and 10-year-olds are a little bit older than either of the doll tests that we've looked at from 2005 or 1940. So one of the things you might want to think about is, how did age, if you're 9 or 10, are you still internalizing those stereotypes? Or are you a little bit more aware? Like, might you know what the psychologist is trying to get you to say, or not get you to say, might you understand the test and then try to outwit the test? So the results don't reflect negatively on you. I don't know if that makes sense. To some of you, I bet you it does. There were 130 children that were interviewed. They were from all different regions of the country, so that's different than Kiri Davis's in 2005, which was just a sample of kids from New York City. These are kids from the North and the South, like the original doll test. They're from different socioeconomic backgrounds. So some of the kids that were interviewed were from really wealthy school districts, and other ones were from poor school districts. And last but not least, I don't know if I mentioned this. Did I mention this? Oh, yeah. They were from different races. That's right. So kids of color were asked to participate in the doll test, like the other ones that we've watched, but also white kids this time. So I'm curious to see how you think white kids might respond. Is race a factor when it comes to the internalization of negative racial stereotypes, just like is age a factor? Instead of using plastic dolls on this doll test, they did something different. They used these 5 pictures of kids, which you can see right here. The pictures were totally identical except for the skin color. There was like a gradient of skin color that ranged from really light skin to really dark skin. And the students, the kids were asked questions that might give us some insight into different factors about race, like what's the relationship between race and intelligence? So it would ask them, like, which is the dumb child? Race and behavior. So they would ask the kids, like, which is the mean child? And the kids would have to point to one of the pictures. And finally, race and appearance. Point to the child that has the nicest skin color. We're going to see some clips from how the children responded. We'll also see clips of the parents watching their kids, not in the same room at the same time, but they watch video of their kids taking the doll test, and then they interview the parents. Holy cow, it's cringy. Oh my gosh, I just used that word, and I think I used it right. It's totally cringy. It's totes cringy. Hashtag cringy. Whew, man, I'm so hip and cool. Before we do any of that, though, we're going to make some predictions. By the way, I don't know if you're paying attention to these paragraphs, but holy typos. All right, so let me review the prediction questions I'm going to be asking you to make today in class. The first question is this. Predict how young Black children ages 3 to 5 years old would respond to the 2020 doll test. Do you think A, less than 25% of the kids had showed signs of internalized negative stereotypes? That would be a really different result than Kiri Davis's or the 1940s. This would mean that kids are no longer internalizing those negative stereotypes about race. Is it B, about 50%? So an improvement from Kiri Davis in the 1940s, but not a big improvement. Or C and D, which are, 75 or 90% of the kids. 75% is about what it was back in the 1940s and in 2005. 90% would show an increase in the amount of internalized racism. So where do Black kids fall when it comes to the doll test in 2012? What's your prediction? Question number 2 is the same prediction, only this time, how do you think the white kids are going to respond? Are you saying that 25% of the young white children showed signs of internalizing negative stereotypes, meaning like most of these white kids aren't internalizing those things? Are you saying that B, 50%, half of them are internalizing those things? Are you saying C, about 3/4 of the white kids, just like the Black kids from the 1940s and 2005, are internalizing those negative stereotypes? Or is it D, the white kids are internalizing those stereotypes in even larger numbers than the Black kids had been in the 1940s and 2005? Question number 3 asks you to do some analyzation of some examination of your 2 predictions. So I want you to look at your answers for 1 and 2 and tell me first, are they the same or different? Like, do you think the white kids and Black kids are going to respond in the same way? And if you did, why do you think the results, your predictions, are the same? And if they're different, why do you think the white kids and Black kids are responding differently or internalizing negative stereotypes to a greater or lesser degree? Next, you're going to move on to same types of questions, only this time we're going to look at the older kids. How does age impact how we internalize negative stereotypes? You're going to start with the Black kids, and I'm going to ask you to predict, was it like less than 25% of the Black children showed signs of internalizing negative stereotypes, meaning most of them did not absorb those negative stereotypes. By the time you're 9 or 10, you're no longer absorbing those negative stereotypes. Or is it B, 50%? C is essentially saying no change from the 1940s, 2005, about 3/4 of Black kids are internalizing those negative stereotypes, even though they're 9 or 10? Or does it get worse as you get older? Question number 5 rather, is asking you the same question, only about white kids this time. Are older white kids, are they not internalizing the negative stereotypes? Choice A. Are half of them internalizing those negative stereotypes? Choice B. Is it about the same as the black kids from the 1940s, choice C, or are more white kids internalizing those stereotypes than other kids were? And finally, number 6, if you did see some differences between the younger kids and the older kids, like if you made some predictions like, I think the younger kids are going to respond and say and absorb more negative than the older kids, or I think the older kids are going to absorb more negative stereotypes than the younger kids, I want you to first tell me, did that happen? Was there a difference? And if so, why? And if not, you're like, no, it's the same. Age doesn't matter. Tell me why age doesn't matter. So that's your assignment for today. A lot of thinking, not a ton of writing. And I hope this isn't confusing for you. It's why I wanted to explain it to you. And if you are confused, like this video isn't making sense for you, shoot me an email and I'll try to explain it to you in a different way. I hope you guys have a great day and I will see you tomorrow. Adios. Oh, wait, I didn't hang up yet. Now, see you later. Peace.